Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back. This is what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna do a video that I promised a long time ago, which is about how to make custom levels on Luxor Evolved. So many of you want to know how I do it specifically. So I'm gonna use free programs. So one of them is Illustrator to make the path and the background. We need to use a spreadsheet like Excel, or what I'm using here is LibreOffice. It's free, just download it from the internet. And we also, optionally, you can use Notepad++ for manipulation of files. Alright, so before starting, you should go to the video description and download the zip file, which will include some template files for you to start off with. This folder contains some scripts that we use in Illustrator, a spreadsheet file for you to convert things, and template Illustrator file for you to make the path, and a vertex list. So first we're not going to install the scripts, select them, copy them, and then paste it in your for example C drive program files, Adobe Illustrator CC, presets, language, and then scripts, and paste it right here. So this is the entire directory right at the top. After you do so, you can open your Illustrator and open that template make file like so. So by default, there are several layers that I'm going to explain. The first layer here is a sideguard. So a sideguard is a little black border at the end, at the edge of the level, just to ensure when you're exporting, for example, a background, that it will not spill out of the edge. So sometimes you might have designs that is sticking very close to the edge. So this helps you to eliminate the fact that, if you place that texture file in game, sometimes it will show the edge if you just have the overlapping, like for example the background right there. So it's just there to help you to eliminate this bad thing. And then we have a black backdrop. This is just there for clear purposes. We have a reference layer for you to show that how the in-game position is, and also there's some helper tools at the edge. Usually when you design your level, you want to keep your level between these two horizontal lines. And that's great. And now we have another level called symmetric template. This is for symmetrical levels. Today we're going to do a symmetrical level, but we're not going to use this because it's a little bit complicated. So we will just use a new layer to do this. So I'm going to name this layer path. In fact, what the level we're going to try to recreate today is Inner Sanctum of the Temple, classic level, right? So here we want to do, we're going to modify this level a little bit so that it fits our tutorial purposes. First, we want to get rid of this tunnel right here. We want to make the old version of it, and then we want some warps. We want some place to where the spheres can warp from one place to another. So let's see. The path would go like this. It would go into here under the tunnel, which I call crossover, down here, and then it enters a warp. It's a warp out, so because it warps out of the level, and then it comes out here, in. Okay, this is warp in, and then it comes out here, goes on top, and then goes under, come back here to this corner, and then it warps out again. It's out, and then in again in this corner, underneath here, over up, and then we go into our pyramid. This is an in again. So the differences between in and out is in, it means it's going into the level, out is going out of the level. Okay, there should be one more warps right here. Let's do this Luxor Evolved style. This should be a warp right here, so this warps in. And then we're going to do different corners. There's two types of corner. The corner that we almost every level uses is the smooth corner right here. Smooth corner. And then in this level, it seems there's some sharp corners. So there's one sharp corner, one sharp corner, one sharp corner, 4 sharp corners here. The difference between a smooth corner and a sharp corner is how this garab at the end of the chain like rotates around the corner. So sharp corner, it's kind of like it snaps right in immediately. And it's like almost abused in my custom levels. Smooth corners is what the corners that you usually see that this garab actually is to turn smoothly. Okay, and then we have some crossovers. We have 1 crossover, 2 crossover, 3 crossover, or you like to call tunnels, right? I find that tunnels is not that good in this Luxor Evolved. It does not fit the art style, so I just use a crossover instead. Alright, so let's just replicate this level in Adobe Illustrator. We're gonna open a new layer, as we just did right here. We just call this path. Oops. And then to create the path itself, we're gonna use the pen tool right here, or shortcut key P. And then we're gonna draw some paths right here. We're gonna draw a path right here using the pen tool. Press P, shortcut, and then we're gonna just click once and click on where you want the points to be. Do not drag right here, because if you drag, then you will create a smooth curve, which is what we don't want in here. I'm just gonna create a very basic layout. This is probably not symmetrical, so just bear with me. But this is how the level goes. Alright, done. This is the basic idea of the level, right? Alright. We're gonna make this having a white stroke by having no fill and a white stroke right here. We're gonna change this stroke size to 37. This is the width of the level in what you see in Luxor Evolved. So it's pretty standard already. It actually fits the game very much. So it's very bad, it's not symmetrical, but just bear with me again. This is the start of the level, alright? To do the start of the level, you always want to extrude the starting point out of bounds, out of the playing area, because how the game handles the starting area is it like stacks every single sphere at that point, and in Luxor Evolved, because colors are additive and it will just like have a very bright spot at the map. So we just don't want it to be on the visible part of the map. Just put it somewhere off by extending the starting point. And then we want to add in the actual start point, which is a warp right here, arbitrarily. And then we need to do the starting point. This is how we do it. Zoom in very close, hit the pen tool again, and then we're gonna make 2 additional anchor points. To make additional anchor points on the path, just hover your cursor on the path until the cursor becomes a plus sign. Make sure you have smart guides on. View, smart guides, or Control U. By using this, you can snap your cursor onto anything. So just create 2 of these. Create 2 very closely spaced anchor points in the beginning, and then 2 more after the starting point. So the starting point is right here, and then I'm going to create 1 which is about the distance of this width. So this width is 37 points, and then I'm just going to do it a little bit right here, just about that. And then another anchor point which is about half the distance of this distance, like so. Alright, and then this is a crossover. We are going under it, so we need to make a crossover. A crossover is very easy. It consists of 4 nodes, which is something like this. We place 2 anchor points very close to the one that's going above it, like so, and another one which is about the distance right here. Just eyeball it. That doesn't have to be very accurate, and you can adjust this as your own. And then we have a sharp corner here. Don't touch it until later. Sharp corners are left in the very end. And now we have crossover, which is above, so we don't have to do anything of it. The reason why we have to do anchor points here, because we need to do that fade in, fade out effect. Alright, so we need additional anchor points to mark them down. Sharp corner here, and then we're gonna have a warp here. So I want to break this anchor point. To break or cut an anchor point, use the direct selection tool, which is this white cursor or shortcut key A, direct, select this point and go up to the menu here and cut it. The scissor tool, cut. This will separate this path into two paths at the selected anchor points. So right here I have two of them, and I want this upper one to be a little bit, say, right here. So it goes in and then it comes out a little bit, in upper position. Now for warps, how we do it is we add 3 anchor points on each end. One anchor point is, again, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in to the very last, and put an anchor point very close to this terminal endpoint. And then zoom back out, add 2 more anchor points, like what we just did. Eyeball this. So this width right here is about the size, the width of the stroke, and this one is about halfway there. Same thing on the other end. We're gonna zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. Place an anchor point very close to the terminal one. Zoom back out, and then place 2 more right here. Again, these 2 don't have to be really exact, but it just adds the effect. And we have a smooth corner here. We have 2 smooth corners actually, one here and one here. So we're gonna select them both because we want them to be the same, like, strength of curve. We're gonna select them both. You can see this little small handle here appear when you select them with the direct selection tool. To select multiple of them, click one, hold shift, click another one, and then use this little handle, drag it. So now you can see the smooth curve coming in, very smooth. And this, you release it where you want it to. So for example, I want to have a bigger smooth curve, then you can do a bigger one. You can do a smaller smooth curve, and you can do a smaller one, like this. So created that. So selecting this, like, multiple anchor points, make sure that the 2 curves, corners, are the same size. If you want them to be different, then you can like scale them independently. Now, and others warp right here. Again, I'm gonna select this with the direct selection tool, A, cut it, and make it a warp. Again, make a warp, 3 additional anchor points on each end, one very close to the terminal one, right here. Zoom in and then zoom out, and then place 2 more. 1, 2. Same thing for this one. Zoom in, place one at the very close, here and here. The reason why the warps have been done this way, because the warps does not always facing the same direction. If you have experience in making other, like, lots of levels, if you make corners like this one, the scarab at the end of the chain, or the vise, will just drift along the corner. So we don't want this to happen. So therefore we place additional anchor points very close to the terminal anchor points, just to not make that happen. Alright, sharp corner here, I just leave it, and then we have crossover, right? Yep, this is under. So we're gonna place, again, two anchor points. If you imagine a line going straight through under, and just put it a little bit outwards, and again. So remember, the area in between this longest portion is where you can't shoot, alright? And the portion where it transition from opaque to transparent is where you still can shoot. Alright. And then we have sharp corner, and then we have, finally, we're going back into the tunnel. Oop, I think I missed out a cross tunnel here, right? Let's edit it real quick. And then finally the pyramid. The pyramid, add 2 anchor points. This anchor point is a little bit further. You have to adjust it for it. It's a little bit more than this width, so about here, and then another one there. You can adjust this later on, but this is how we do it. Okay, I left off the corners. The corners, how to make it into an actual corner. Currently, if this was the path, then the spheres would move directly from this anchor point to this anchor point in a straight line, and don't know how to like adjust that curve. To do this, we have to add in additional anchor points. We can just do this manually, like so. But if you want this to be like prettier, you can use a script that we have installed. So the script, these two scripts are provided by these two guys. One of them is called Carlos Canto, that extract the coordinates of the anchor points. Very useful later on. And the other one is called notches.jsx. I think this is by this guy. I can't find this guy's name, but props to him. Oops, got bad. Okay, to do this, you want to select the path that you are about to divide in. Okay, and you're gonna add notches to it. So select that with the direct selection tool. Select the path by clicking on the path. So you're selecting only this portion of the path. Go to Files, Script, Notches, and it depends on how smooth your curve wants to be. You can increase this value. So I'm gonna do 3 on this one, and I'm gonna do 6 on the other one. And press OK, and it doesn't seem that anything has happened because that thing has already been placed, but it's just too thick, we can't see it. We're gonna change the stroke to 1 so we can see it. These are the notches that they're talking about. So to add anchor points on the intersection of these, it's a little bit complicated. What we're gonna do is we're gonna select the main path and then press Ctrl Shift, close square bracket, or Object, Arrange, bring to front. This would make this main path on the topmost layer so you can interact with it. Now go back to the pen tool and head towards the intersection point of the notch, and it should snap right in. And when you see the plus sign, hit once and it will add an intersection point. Now you can delete the notches when you added all of them. Afterwards, you select these corners, which is smooth, and then select them only, and then go to Convert up here. Remember, you use the direction selection to A to select these. Go to Convert and select this like angled symbol right here, and now the spheres would sort of travel in a smooth curve, but still not in a smooth curve. But this is how the art style of Luxor Evolved is. So if you're gonna turn this back on like to full width, and you should see how it looks like in game. So we do 3 notch on this one. Let's do 6 notch on the other one. Actually 5. Let's do 5 notch on this one just to demonstrate the different like the higher number you do, the more smoother it goes. So again, script, notch. You can't do multiple notch at the same time. Okay. Actually, you can. You can select multiple segments and you can just do the same thing at once. But currently, I'm just going to do it separately. 5. Again, you might not see it because it's too thick. Lower the strike so you can see it. Again, bring the main path to the top, and then hit your pen tool, and remember to select your main path before interacting with it. Click, plus sign, click, plus sign, click, plus sign, click, and there you go. Delete the notches, we don't need them anymore. Direct selection 2, select all of them and convert them to a corner. The converting thing does not affect how the spheres go. It just only affects how the appearance of it. So you can see this one is like more smooth compared to this one. It's like more jaggy, more edges coming out of it. So now this part is almost done. But before, so like here we have broken parts, right? These are where the warps in. We have broken parts. Before we deal with the broken parts, I advise you to copy this level, this layer. So this layer called path houses 3 objects, 1 for each path right here. We're gonna duplicate the whole path layer. So we name this into background, something like this, BG. I'm just gonna copy another one in case I mess things up. So later on we'll make the background of it using that. But currently we'll deal with the path first. So we're gonna connect these paths together. There's 3 of them right here, and we need to connect them into one single one just for easier export. So this warp connects to this one, and this warp connects to this one. Okay, so to connect two different paths, select the pen tool, hover around the terminal anchor points. But because there's two very close space anchor points, make sure you are on the correct one. To make sure the correct one, you can see that the symbol turns to a little like a parallelogram or slope. That way you know that you're doing this right. Now click once and then connect to where you want to. If you are on the node that you're connecting, that is like on the terminal end, you just see the symbol change to a little square with two notches on each side. Click, and now you have successfully connected two paths together. Now we just need to convert the other path right here to here. Whoops, I think I forgot something. We forgot to convert the sharp corners right here. I just realized. So to convert a sharp corner, we don't want that drifting effect to occur. So we have to make like very tiny space for those two anchor points. We're gonna select the sharp corners that we have, and then zoom in all the way until like the very big. Click this handle, snap it when it says 0.01, release. This will create two anchor points that is very close to each other. Like you can't even see it. It's just like very close. Okay, now we can export this into the actual numbers, right? So select this path, and then before activating the script, move this layer. Like this layer now houses this path right here. Move this to the topmost layer. For some reason, I don't know why the script does not work if it isn't in the topmost layer. So now go to File, Script, with the path selected in the background. Hit Get Coordinate. Now we have this set of coordinates. To make sure that it is in the correct order, you want to check that if the first node right here actually corresponds to the first set of coordinates. So in this case, it corresponds 315 and 480. The y-axis has an inverted negative sign, so in this case, it's absolutely correct. In case that the order is reversed, you can always select the path, go to Object, and Path, Reverse Path Direction. So in case if that reverses, then do this. Just to make sure I'm recording. Alright. Or else it'll be pretty mad. I'll be pretty mad at this one. Then the path is complete. Now we can just hide this path, and we will deal with that number later on. We will now make the background. Okay. The reason why making paths with overlaps, like with this overlaps, without linking these, is because, let me show you. If you have I have overlap like so, which is the same object. This is one single object, and I do the operation, which is object path outline stroke, and then what you would get is not what you want. Ideally, you would want these lines in the middle. Like you would want to connect this and this one and this one, because the crossovers are semi-transparent, right? But you don't get those lines, right? So therefore, if you have any crossovers like here, you have to make sure that they are two separate objects. So to convert one object into two, what I usually do is I find a straight edge between the crossover, like this one, and then I hit P and add a new vertex on this straight path, hit this corner and cut it. So now you have two separate objects on two separate the crossover has two separate objects. Now if you do that same thing again, you would get what you want, which is two separate crossing paths, something like that. So now we're gonna do it on this one. But before we do it on this one, remember, copy this thing into this original position. To copy things without moving it, go to Object, Transform, move, and then horizontal 0, vertical 0, and then hit copy. In this case, you have duplicate this thing without moving it. And now, without moving off the selection, you have selected this a set of the duplicate. Go to graphic styles. So this is where it comes into play. This Illustrator file should come with 2 custom graphic styles. If you don't have this window, go to Window, Graphic Styles, right here. Click that, and then there should be 2 custom files, 2 custom made for this one. One should be called Luxor Neon 3A2. One should be called Luxor Path Shadow version 1. This is what we want to do. We want to have a shadow like under the tunnel, under the crossover that we want to make that effect on. So select a set of the duplicate and then click this one, and it will become black, semi-transparent. And then for this purposes, let's just hide these things so we don't see it until we use it. Now to the most important part, we're gonna convert this thick ass path into 2 lines. We do this, we select every single object, make sure crossovers, 2 separate objects. Go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke, hit it, and then nothing has changed, seem to be, but no. You have to click this button right here, Swap, Fill, and Stroke at the edge. Swoop, and voila, you have created the outline version of the path. Actually, I forgot something. I'm so sorry. This one right here, the path, the background should not show this part, right? We should eliminate this starting node. So just delete that and do the same thing again. Object, Path, Outline Stroke, and then or Shift X to invert the fill and stroke. Now, you don't have these ends, like these should be loose ends, right? So we have to do this with the direct selection tool, A key. Select these paths, click it once, and delete it. So we don't need this end paths. We just make it open, right? We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. Now it's all open. Now here comes where the magic comes into play. We're gonna convert this plain dull lines into those like neon vectorized graphics that you see in the game. So select everything and then deselect by holding shift, deselect some terminal anchor points like this. This is a loose end, right? Click it. Now new options available here. Again, we're gonna cut them using the scissor tool. Cut them all. And now you have every single line here as one separate object. Yeah, it takes up a lot of layers, it might take up a lot of space, it might lag in some older computers, but this is how it works. Now select everything again in this background layer and go to graphic styles again, click this Luxor Neon 3A2, click it. It might lag a bit, but boom! Suddenly, this becomes what we want. This is what I experiment with, and finally I get this correctly, where there's this little sprite, little glow at the corners. And this is it. This is how you make this feeling of it. Alright? And now remember that shadow path that we have just made? This is where the crossover effect comes into play. So we're gonna recall which parts are going under. So here we have the vertical path going under, so which means the shadows are casting on the vertical path, which means we need the horizontal part. So remember, always the top path will where we want to cut this shadow version of it. So we want only this portion. We only want this portion, short portion of it. So C. We're gonna cut this again, select this shadow version of it, hit 2 anchor points, select them, and then hit cut. So you have cut this into 3 separate objects. We don't need this, and we probably don't need this too. Oops. We don't need this, we don't need that. So again, and we have this one. This is the path on top. So we need the vertical ones instead. again, cut this into a separate piece. Just only the portion where the overlap occurs. Anywhere else we don't really need that. And a third crossover, which is right here. The top is where we want the shadow be. So this is what you're left with, right? You are left with a shadow version of the path, and the shadowed version is where the top path locates. And now you want to bring this neon stripes on top of this shadow. How to do that? Select these neon strips, and then hit Control Shift, close square bracket, or again, you can always go Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. And now, oops, oh nope, I'm so sorry, this is not the front. You should bring these to top. So bring these two neon stripes on the top, and suddenly it seems that the lower path is going, like the vertical path is going underneath, right? This is how you do it, and then you just do it on the other paths. So this one would be this one. Sometimes you need to adjust the layer, the sequence of the layer. So in this case, I want to just move this downward a little bit. So moving a layer downwards is Control Open Square Bracket, or Object, Arrange, Send Backwards. So send backwards. Okay, sometimes it does not work. So if it does not work above several presses, you can send this to the bottom most. So Control Shift, Open Square Bracket, and then send these two back onto the top. Send these two underneath, so that it is under the shadow, like that. And then, but this one requires some fixing again, like so. This two has to be under, right? Yep, the vertical ones have to be under, so I'm gonna send it to the lowest layer. Again, just experiment with that. All you need to do is to have the topmost neon stripes, and then the shadow, and then the neon stripes underneath. So again, this one, put these two on top. Perfect. Now we have these like tunnel / crossover effect. The opacity are adjusted, so they are like absolutely perfect. You don't have to mess with that. And then finally we need to make these ends not that bad. We have like the warps, but the warps doesn't cover them fully, so we need to do some effects. Enable the reference layer right here. Click it and then unlock it. You see there's two like gradient blocks right here. Copy them into your background layer. This thicker version, this wider version, is used as for the pyramid, because the pyramid is actually larger, so that I need a little bit more buffer for the darker area. I'm just going to overlay on top of the stripes, like so it just cover the bloom. There's no leaking. If you do not place it correctly, you might leak like that, so it's not good. Just cover it. And then for the shorter version of it, it's just provided for the rest of them. So it's just the rest of the loose ends, like so. So just only the thicker version is for the pyramids, and the rest of them is for the others. To duplicate an object quickly without using Control and Control C, Control V, copy and paste, you want to select the object, hold alternate until you can see that the cursor changes to a double cursor, and then drag it out without letting go of alternate. Let go of your mouse click, and there you have successfully copied one object without using the keyboards. I guess like not the traditional method, right? You still use a keyboard. And I'm just gonna make many of these as the end, just to make that effect. So other than that, you can add a lot of different things to your background, but here we're just gonna do the most basic ones like this. And now the background is done without any like the other reference. This is how the background looks like. We're gonna export it later. Final thing, we do in Illustrator is the shot position. So we have that like super power up positions, the shots that will pop up like occasionally in the level. We're gonna do that as well. So we're gonna make a separate level, just separate things. We're gonna make use of this little hexagon in the reference layer, unlock it to select it, and then copy that into your newly made layer. I'm just gonna call this layer shots like this. Copy that and then paste it in. So where you want your shots to be is up to you. You can make them symmetric like so. You can make them everywhere you want. Again, I'm shift dragging using holding the alternate button like so. I can just drag shots everywhere, wherever you like. The size of the hexagon is exactly how it appears in game, so you might not want to put it here because it covers up the whole thing. No, just adjust. And then to extract the positions of these things, again, we're going to use a path, like we did with the path. We're going to use the pen tool and then snap to the center of the hexagon. They should be snapping it like automatically because I have placed an anchor point here secretly. Click it and just click the center of the hexagon. It should snap in right in, and it says anchor right there. So just click them in no order. The order does not matter. And to check this path, move this layer up to the top and extract the coordinates by File, Script, Get Coord. And there you go. We have another set of coordinates with reference to the 6th position. Now everything we need to do in Illustrator is basically done. I'm just going to save this file and then we're going to head on to Excel. Before we head on Excel, we're going to make a new folder here in your Luxor folder. It should be in Data, Maps. I'm going to make a new folder here. So I'm just going to copy this one, crop circles. So each time you copy an existing map folder, make sure you change the name. Like this one, I'm going to call it Sanctum2. And then in it, you have to change something. You have to delete the background.png or the background.dds, and then you have to go into map_dds.ui, map.ui, and background_dds.sprite, and also background.spr. These are the 4 files you need access to. Open it with Notepad++ and change the directory. So usually there's an old name of the directory that is for the accompanying with the file. The reason why we use Notepad++ is because we can just replace this very easily. So we're just gonna select that, copy, replace this old directory with the new one. So it's called C Sanctum2 right now. Replace all, and don't forget to hit Control Save. Do this for all the 4 files, like so. It's gonna replace every single directory that contains the old words. And yep, we've done. The position of directory in map.ui and map_dds.ui should be in the bottom, right around here. You can see this C Sanctum2, C Sanctum2. Right. So by hitting replace all, you should have replaced everything. Now we can start to export stuff, I guess. First, let's export the background because it's the easiest. We're just gonna make things that we need to show up. Side guards should be at the top just to prevent the leaks. Background should be in the middle. Black should be the bottom. When everything's set, hit File, Export, Save for Web. And then settings are PNG, 24-bit. You don't need transparency, don't check that. Image size is 1024 by 1024. Percent at 100 because we want full size, and is optimized. Remember also to hit Clip to Artboard so that the size of your image is exactly 1024 by 1024 and it does not contain anything out of bounds. Hit Save and then navigate to your map folder that you just created. In this case, it's in Data, Maps, and then C Sanctum2. Name this background.png. In fact, you can actually change the file name and in background underscore dds.spr. You can change this name whatever you want, but in this case I'm just going to do it as background.png. Now we have to deal with the path. So this is where the Excel files comes in. Alright, now we can open our Excel file called convert.ods. Let's open it, and there are two tabs in it. So actually this is nonsense. There's two tabs called template new and template bges. Bges is the editor for us to edit the background equalizer, which is the bars and boxes that reacts to the music in the background, but we're not going to make it this time. So instead we're going to go to template new, and let's copy another extra sheet to use with. The red part right here is where you don't want to move. You don't want to change any number in this area because it is the core of the converting processes. Now copy the set of coordinates from Illustrator. So double click on it with the selection tool V, and then Control A, select all, Control C, copy it, and then paste it into an empty Notepad first. I don't know why, but if you paste it directly into like Excel, it just does not work. So just copy it, paste it into Notepad++ first, and then paste it here. So paste. Remember to have the delimiters option, comma, on. Click OK. Now we have, boom, we have converted all the coordinates into the set of coordinates that we are having right now. So these are the numbers that you need to copy to. Select everything from H4, which is the first node in path.obj, and it says copy this to path.obj. Copy everything from here across 4 columns onto this zero, this column of zeros, down until the final node. In this case, the final node here is 55. We have 55 nodes in this path. Hit Control C, and then go back to your map folder, open path.obj, okay, and then overwrite every single line that begins with V. So V, 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 until the line where it says VN. Do not overwrite this final line. It has to be there. So just overwrite all the lines with V's. Control V, paste. Done. A foolproof method is that to check, you have 55 nodes, right? The line which sets VN should like be 10 more to the number of your max node. In this case, it's 65. So 65 is like 55 plus 10. So it's okay. It's perfect. And finally, we have to edit this texture like sheet. So currently, there's a lot of texture here where we can just delete everything after the F. So it starts with F space, and then to help you with like allocating these numbers, you can go back to your template folder where I have vertex list for you guys. The vertex list that contains 730 vertex for you to use. They're all in decreasing order, which is what we need actually. We're gonna find the number 55 right here, select everything from 55 until 1, copy that back into path.obj, copy that after the space of F, save, and this is how you do. This is done for path.obj. And then we need to deal with something else. Let's deal with rules.gvf first. So in this file, it defines the level name. So in this case, let's just change this to innermost sanctum of the temple. Okay, map ID, just leave it as is. Here is the flags. These flags control which parts of the path is hidden and which parts of the path is a warp. So we're going to just overwrite this, and we're going to do this back in Illustrator. Now we need to count. How do you count? Very simple. You count from 0. Remember, everything in rules.gvf starts from 0. In fact, you can go back to your Excel file and see there are 2 columns marked rules.gvf and path.obj. They are like exactly one off from each other. So rules.gvf starts from 0 and path.obj starts from 1. So keep in mind when counting, when you are like dealing with hidden and warps flag, because you have to count from 0. So let's actually count this right now. Alright, so due to time constraints, I've already counted them off like in the free time. Here, remember, it starts from 0. So in the beginning, we have 2 extra node points there, so it's 0, 1, 2. And then we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc, etc. Sharp corners have a double count because there's 2 of them in there. And then also in the warp, this is a warp like node. Those are also double counting as well. So make sure you note that. And then back to the Excel file on the right hand side of the sheet where it sets node hidden warp right here in column AA. This is where you enter the number of the nodes. We have special properties, and it will like spit out that particular lines of text that you need to put into rules.gvf. Notes. So this one 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is fixed right here, because usually if you follow my way of creating those notes, it should be always starting with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, with note number 2 being a warp node right there. And then let's identify the next node, which is a crossover node right here, number 6. So crossover, there should be 3 nodes to be hidden, 1, 2, and 3, 6, 7, 8. So let's type in 6, 7, 8. And then let's go to the next one, which has special properties. We have a warp node. So 14, 15, 16, 17, and then 18, 19, 20 should be all hidden. I mean, they should be like dimmed. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Each time a warp comes out, there should be 7 nodes exactly. If you like again create those nodes as I did, and the middle one, the fourth node in a set should be having warp value 1. So click that in. Remember to change that warp value 1, or else horrible things might happen. And then keep counting along the path. We have another crossover at 26. So 26, 27, 28. So 26 to 28, these are all hidden flags. And then 30, blah 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 blah. We have 36, we have a warp node again. So warp nodes are 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Again, a set of 7 nodes, with the 4th node being a warp node 1. And we 42 right here, 43, 44, 45, double count. 46 again is a tunnel. So 46, 47, 48. These are all hidden. So we have 3 of them. And at last, we have the pyramid hidden parts. 52, 53, 54. These are all hidden. So 52, 53, 54. To check if you have done everything correctly, the final path, which is saying 54 right here, should be again exactly 1 off from the maximum node you have, which is 55. And now you have confirmed that you have counted everything correctly. Then copy everything in the column AE, which is starting with node, node, node. Copy all of these and then replace that in rules.gvf, which is right here. Copy that. So it should be under path 1, flags, hidden warp, and then bloop, 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 bloop. Now we have the targets. The targets are actually where the shards are. So where the shards are, again, we have already extract them in Illustrator. Let's just enable them back. So here, we have these 6 coordinates. Again, copy it, paste it in Notepad++, and then paste it right here. There's another paste here at column T, right here. It says Shards right here. Paste it right here with, again, comma delimiters. And then you can see it changes. It spits out the exact text that you need to copy. So targets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, position set to be exactly correct. Copy those that from the target, like here, replace them all. Don't forget that little small curly bracket at the end, or else things would crash. Now, rules.gvf complete. Let's close that up. Finally, we need to modify the file, which is called map_dds.ui. This one is where we place the sprites in. So for example, the warp sprites, that vortex sprite, and also the pyramid sprite. So in this level, how many warp sprites do we have? We have 1 in, 2 in, 3 ins, and then 2 outs. So always the number of ins minus the number of outs should always be equal to 1. Exactly 1. If you're not having this one, then you may have something wrong, or you just decided you don't want to have a warp in as the start of the level. So in this case, we have 3 ins, 2 outs, and 1 pyramid. So in under maps_dds, in the bottommost of the file, you should see something called UI container warp in. This is the sprite for the rotating vortex, and since we have 5 of them, we're just gonna copy that 4 times, so that we have 5 copies of that, and we're gonna rename it. So after the first warp in, we have a warp out, which is blue in color. Changing this one will not change the sprite. You have to change this line right here. We'll just specify the directory of the sprite. Change warp in to warp out. I'm going to name this warp in, warp out 1, just for identification purposes. Warp in 2, this is warp in, warp out 2. Change this sprite to warp out. And then warp out, warp in 3. And now we have to put in the correct positions of these vertices, of these warps. How to do it is we go back to the Excel file, and here in hidden warp, we set up for you already in column AD. So to identify which is in warp, you make sure you remember all the warps, all the nodes with a warp flag are outs, and then the one immediately are ins. Alright, so the first one is not an out because this one is like out of the view, so we don't consider this as one. So the first one we should be copying is the third node right here, this one. So we're gonna copy this into the first one, replacing this line called position. The next one is the warp, which is right here, node 17. This is an out, and then the one immediately for that is an in. So copy this, the 17th node, into the warp out. We have like put this in order so everything is neat and tidy and systematic. The next one is in. Copy the next position for in, warp in 2. Shit, it should be warp out 2. Oh, yep, I have messed up already. Right? Did I? Nope. Oh yeah, I messed up here. The warps should be out. Oh, I should put this one, sorry. This one's the in. That's why I'm feeling like a little bit out. Okay, and then this one, next one, 39th node. This is an out. So this one goes to the out 2. And then finally we have in right here. The final one. Now we can go for the pyramid. The pyramid is essentially the last node right here, position. Just copy that again, position, replace that. And then the rotation is not here, unfortunately I didn't make it here. It's actually right here in column Q. So it's the final line, the final node right here, which says rotation 90. Copy that and put it in. So again, the last node right here is 55. So find the line 55 under path.obj and just look to the right hand side to the rotation column. And that's how you do map_dds for the sprites. Now the final thing we need to do is a little bit of a miscellaneous thing. I have copied level.ui from data, levels, backgrounds, level underscore number here. This level.ui file actually defines the background. So you can see the background have stars radiating out of the center, or stars like dropping out from the top. This file defines the stars. So I'm going to copy this from background to maps just because it is a little bit more tidier and more systematic. So it's right here. I'm just copying it right here. And then we're gonna go to create the level file itself, which is in data, levels, your folder, and then I'm just gonna copy one of these. Oh, we actually have already a Sectum 2 level here. So I'll explain a little bit here. Level path is where the level.ui file just located, which is inside the C underscore Sanctum 2 folder. Music theme, it runs from classic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or bonus, or secret, just different music. And then here, usually there's 4 lines with pound sign, but I expanded the first line, which defines the color scheme of the level. So in case you don't know, the first color corresponds to blue, second corresponds to yellow, third is red, fourth is green, fifth is purple, sixth is white, seventh is orange, eighth is aqua or turquoise, 9 is pink. I just copied the contents of that file to here because by that I can like adjust the colors of each level independently. And now these 3 lines, leave it as it is. If you want to change the power-ups, then mess around with the final 2 lines. And then everything here is basically the same, just self-explanatory. The part that you want to change also is here, which is where the wave file, the wave path is. So it should be the same as the level path file right here, the same folder, or else it will be showing the wrong file, the wrong level. And everything down below is just pretty, again, self-explanatory. Target rules, pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to save this file, and then we're going to go to add this level into the progression file. So it should be under levels, adventure level progression. I'm going to add this level at stage 10-1 right here, level 1, and make sure that correct file name right there. And if everything is done correctly up to this point, you can play test your level right. If you don't have the level select, you can go to more and then options. In this page, hit page up and page down together, and it should ask you about cheats. Just enable it. And if you have enabled it, you can find the level select screen in the more option, like here, level select on the top right hand corner. And you can now select your level from here, innermost sectum of the temple. Oops, I have checked the wrong button. I'm so sorry. Not cancel, it's okay. So let's check. Everything should be working correctly up to this point. We have a working file, warps going in, colors going out, crossovers doing correctly, they're hiding parts of these spheres correctly. Boom, shots coming up as intended, and we have a working level. That's how you do it. It's actually very easy when you do a lot of times, basically. So this is how you make the level. One more thing, you can change the color of the level by changing the value in map underscore dds.ui. It's somewhere around in the bottom where it sets frame UI frame BG and it says color. So currently it's like in the color of slightly yellow, and then it's into the blue. So it goes RGB. For example, if I want a completely blue level, I can just set this as 0 red, 0 green, and then blue 1. Oops. So the values range from 0 to 1. If you want to convert it from the normal RGB value, just divide it by 255 and you have 1. So you can save this file again, and to reload a level, like you change something here or you change something in this level file, you don't have to quit the level. You have to not quit the game. You have to quit the level and restart it. The only thing you have to reboot the whole game with is if you change the background after you load it once, then you have to reboot the whole thing if you change the background. So for example, now with a blue level, which is what we wanted. Again, so this is the end of the tutorial. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and stay tuned. I've done so much other things that I think I should work on my mod again. So just stay tuned, and hope you like this video, and we'll see next time.